Sweet. Okay, well, thanks, Liz, for coming on. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited that Liz is finally on my channel. Liz is like my bestest friend, and yeah, I'm so excited that you're finally here. So thank you for
Well, I'm excited I'm here too.
And I was just commenting on like how beautiful your background looks. Oh my gosh. And you guys, that's real.
Yeah,
That's
well, this is my patio area.
that's not a virtual background. That is real.
Yeah, it looks really nice here during the fall. Like Knoxville actually, which is where I am, we have a lot of different varieties of trees, like that are not just from here, but like from other places. So during fall time it can get really nice back here. So it's real.
Yeah, and when does it see, I think I totally messed up the timelines because I thought the leaves like, well, I guess they're like just starting to change here where I am in North Georgia. But I thought they would be changing already.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's kind of weird here with like fall and spring. It's like something like it's almost like an overnight thing. So like the trees, I would say probably started like last week, but it was like overnight. Like all of a sudden you started noticing like the colors changing like overnight. Spring here is kind of the same thing, where things will the trees that have like flowers on them, it will literally bloom overnight. Like you'll see all of them like in different areas of it. It's really cool to watch.
Yeah, yeah. So I I think I planned like I had wanted to come to North Georgia for like the fall and seeing all the colors and everything. And I think I'm probably gonna miss it. So that's all right though.
Why do you not get very many that change like where you're at?
No, like
Not
there's
really.
there's a few that are just starting right now, but the owner of the property was saying it usually peaks like later in November. So it's actually been quite warm during the day, and cold at night, but it's still beautiful. I'm not complaining. It's still great. So we met, let's see, I think we met like about 2 years ago,
Yep,
right?
that
About two
sounds
years
about right.
ago. And we met, I think we were like both in a Facebook group together.
Yep, we
And
were.
beyond that, I like don't even remember how it happened.
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, in the group they had done some kind of full moon like was like a full moon meditation that was live, and they wanted us to comment things that we wanted to manifest for the full moon. And my comment, you ended up sending me a message because of my comments, and then that's how we connected. But it was so funny because like I connected, if I'm not mistaken, I connected with Kristen first, and then I connected with you, and then you guys were already friends and we just didn't know, and that was so like synced up, you know?
Yeah, that actually has been happening to me a lot over the last couple years. Is usually like I'll meet people and we'll usually have common friends, like people that we know. It's just kind of like, I wouldn't say small circles, but yeah, it's like these circles where a lot of the same people know each other. So
Yeah.
I don't know, it's kind of nice, it's like, oh, you know so and so, oh, that's so cool. Yeah. But yeah, Liz and I just like clicked like right away. It's almost like we just speak the same language or something.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy, but like I love the fact that like I can say something or partial things and like like how my brain like is working. So
Yeah, and I'm so honored and grateful for our friendship, and it's been a really pivotal friendship and relationship for me
oh, seriously, it's been for me too. I love you, girl. I
because
seriously.
it's showed me that like we can actually have healthy relationships with people.
Yes. And I would also say healthy relationships with people that like even though you're on social media, like outside of social media, a little known fact, Leigh actually came and visited me here and spent time like here, and we got to hang out a bunch, and like it was freaking awesome. I loved every second of you being here. And it definitely showed me like a lot of the social media stuff, like people think it's just on there, like in that space. But like it's possible to have it outside of that space and like actually connect with people like in a deep level. And I love that.
Yeah, it was so fun. It was so much fun. And especially like meeting your daughter too. Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
She loved it. She loved it. She loved it.
Yeah, it was great. And I think you're maybe the second or third person I've done that with. But it's like I'll always do it if I have the opportunity, especially if it's someone like I'm really connecting with. Because yeah, I mean, we can do whatever we want. We can like create whatever realities we want. Like I do think that like I will say I love Facebook for that, for being able to meet people all over the world and make connections and network and all that. But yeah, like I do have this sense that a lot of it is still very artificial. And I know that, we only have so much time and energy that we can give. Like we can't be friends with everybody. Um, but yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people on Facebook that just aren't really making an effort to really get to know you. It's more just about like, I actually don't know what it is. Because if it's not that, what is it? I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't know. Like I think it became social media, or at least I don't know, like this is just my take on it, but like I feel like originally at least Facebook was supposed to be like for networking and connecting with people, like in some capacity, like through either work or like making friends and stuff like that. And it turned from that into a who's got more friends or who gets more likes kind of thing. And like that stuff, like that just doesn't matter. Like that takes us like further away from like the connection of each other, in my
Yeah,
opinion. Like so
exactly.
social media is like good, but it's also like not good at the same time with that, I would
Pros and
say.
cons, just like everything in life, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Um, so I wanted to try this new thing where when I have people come on, because these are like totally unscripted. Like we don't even talk in advance about what we're going to talk about. Like this is totally organic and free flow. And I got really inspired by another YouTube channel. It's called Zoology, and the guy that runs that, his name is Todd Medina, and I got really inspired by his channel and the way that he does it on there. And I love that style. Like, and I've done interviews before. Like over the summer, I did a really small interview series with a few people, and yeah, I don't really like the structure of that so much. I mean, I know it's good for a guide, but I thought what would be kind of cool is if maybe like I share, if you wouldn't mind, if I share or read off like one of your recent Facebook posts.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
So this was the one that you posted a few days ago with like, oh my gosh. Okay, you guys, Liz's art is just like incredible. Um like I feel like I'm on psychedelics, but I'm not. you know,
Like I will say this much, not that I am against it in any capacity, but she has actually asked me like if I have, because she thought that I created them. This is like me straight up, like no medicines, no drugs, no alcohol. Like my art is created like that. So no plant medicines, nothing. So
yeah, so your art is incredible. And before I read the post, like tell us a little bit more about like when you're making your art, like what is that experience like for you?
well, originally when I first started making it, it was kind of I was trying to, I guess, in a way, see what I could do with it. But then it kind of is went from that space to like, I literally full blown channel my art. Like, I go into a deep meditative state, and like whatever is created happens like during that time. Like, sometimes I will have different imagery that comes through, or like actual beings that will come through the art. And I always try to make sure now that it's a very safe space container, because there have been some incidences that were not so pleasant with that. So I've definitely made that a thing. But yeah, it's completely channeled. Like, you won't even, you could talk to me and I will not hear you. Like, I go that deep in with it when I create my
You're just
pieces.
in the zone. Yeah. I mean, I can definitely tell when I look at it. So yeah, and you've got that posted on your Facebook account, and then we'll talk about how people can find your stuff a little bit later. But yeah, I wanted to go ahead and read this post because of course I love it. So you said the time has come to own your shit. Really look and release the falsities. There is no template of who you are supposed to be, only the limitations and beliefs that hold you back from who you really are. The deeper on this journey we all go individually and also collectively will call for us to face this if we haven't already. Being the fire that is uniquely you is part of the path. Face the mirror, heal the wounds, and burn brightly like only you can. Oh my gosh. Woo! I just like that makes me so excited. I love reading that. Do you have anything like, do you have anything else you'd want to say about that post, or like what inspired that?
Well, for me, like, one of the things that's been a huge thing, I would say, for definitely the last like 5, 6 months ish, is like breaking down those layers of like the things that people think you are, or the imprints of like what you've taken in from other people's perceptions of you, and like just getting rid of those and being like who you really are. And when I originally had that post came through, like, I get like channeled messages too that will come through like that. I kept seeing like a phoenix. And that was like one thing that specifically kept coming through, as a phoenix. Because in a way, like, especially during this time, I feel like if you are healing those layers, sitting with those layers, and, removing them to who you really are, it really is like being like a phoenix, constantly rising from the ashes, and like being able to see your reflection of who you are at your core, and who you are like with those layers, and removing them and being true to yourself. Because like now we need more authenticity, not this fake layered stuff that's going on here.
Yeah,
So
it's so interesting because gosh, there's so much I want to say to that. I think that like rising through the ashes, like, just it feels like, not that I'm a different person, but it feels like I undergo like these revisions constantly. And especially over the past couple of years, like ever since I sat with grandmother plant medicine, it has just been like blast off. And it's just, because like like we're very involved in each other's lives, and it's just been like one thing after the next, and just these constant like initiations and lessons, and more growing, and more looking at the mirror, and more like chipping away of all the old stuff that no longer serves us, to connect more with who we really are. Because I caught myself saying earlier today to somebody that after I did ayahuasca, I was a different person, or I was a new person. And that's actually not true. And I caught myself really quick when I said that. I'm like, no, I was just remembering who I am. I was just remembering who I've been this whole time. It's just, letting all the, like you said, all the falsities, letting those fall away. the programming that we got from our parents, from our family, from culture, society, from, you know, our ancestors, the limiting beliefs, the fears. Because I mean, that's the only thing that's holding us back, is us and just the fears and beliefs, you know. That's the only thing, because we're magic makers, we're alchemists. Like we can create whatever we want. And I know, like, that sounds like, oh well, if you can do that, why don't you just do it? Because you know, we're still working through all of this stuff.
Yeah, I would definitely say also, like, everyone has stuff. Like, that's the thing. Nobody is exempt. Everybody has stuff. It doesn't matter what label you give yourself, everybody has stuff. And going through the stuff, like, that's another thing. Like, going through the fear is the major thing. Like, things that scare you, freaking go blazing through it. It doesn't matter if you're afraid, like, you just need to keep going. Go
Yeah,
on through it.
lean into it, lean into it.
Exactly.
Because yeah, it's uncomfortable, but you know what's more uncomfortable is having things that you wanted to do that you never even tried, is being on your deathbed and regretting that you never even like tried those things that you wanted to do. That is, to me, a lot more uncomfortable, you
Well,
know.
also, like, living a life where you're not yourself and you feel like you can't be yourself. Like, people need to get past the fear of, like, not being who they really are. Because, like, even if people don't accept you as you are, like, your full self or whatever, those are just not your people. Like, you need to be yourself to bring those people in.
Absolutely. And like that's one of the reasons why I wanted to create this channel, was because people can show up for who they actually are, and we're kind of like broadcasting, right? So if somebody sees this and they're like, you know, I really connect with that person, then reach out. You know, please reach out, because you know, you have to take the initiative sometimes to make that happen. And I know we do share this in common, but like for me, it's been a big struggle in being able to be my authentic self, because my authentic self is usually not accepted by most other people. Um, you know, and I've always felt very different. I've always felt like I didn't really belong here, you know, like I'm from somewhere else. And yeah, like you were saying, like it's just about finding your people, like finding your tribe. And I think I posted maybe a couple weeks ago about this, about tribe, and I had pulled this hawk medicine card. But yeah, it can be very difficult sometimes to navigate this world when, you know, you are still you're still trying to find your people. You're still trying to align with who those people are, because like, let's be honest, most people still are operating in the subconscious, and they haven't really started connecting with the love that they are yet. And so people can only meet you where they're at. People can only love you to the level that they love themselves. And if most people still don't really love themselves, then they can't have that love for you, and they can't see the light that you are, because they don't even see the light within themselves. So, we can still shine our light and hopefully have like a really good influence on the others, but we also have to have our own boundaries for what we tolerate, and what is okay for us to be around. And yeah, I've just I've as you know, I've been having lots of challenges around this area lately, just navigating all of this.
Yeah, I would definitely say that you're handling it very well though. I think you are, like, what you're currently doing. Do you mind if I mention she's currently doing, if you don't know already, she's doing a work trade uh situation, and like I think that it's awesome. Like, It's a different outside the box kind of thing, and I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a different lifestyle for sure. Because I knew, I had been working in this career for over 16 years, and I finally just got to a point where I was like, oh, I just can't do this anymore. Like it was just sucking my soul. It was like sucking all the joy out of me, and I was dreading going to work. And like when you reach that point, that's bad, and you probably shouldn't keep going. And it's so sad though, because I think a lot of people feel that they don't really have a choice and that they're kind of stuck there. And I also understand, like, if you have children and you have a family and like other people are dependent on you, then that's a different situation. I'm a single person and I don't have anyone relying on me, so I do also have a little bit more freedom, I guess, in that way. So I'm not saying, this is necessarily for everybody, but I decided that I just didn't want to go back to that. And I just wanted to try a different type of lifestyle. So this is my first one. And I'm here for like another week and a half. And I've been here for a few weeks already. And yeah, I'm on this farm and we've been doing weddings. And yeah, we just had a wedding this week, actually. Oh my gosh, I'm still recovering from that because it's a lot. It's a lot. It's exhausting. But yeah, I think overall it's been a pretty good experience. But yeah, it was like you said, lean into the fear and face your fears. It was terrifying. When I did it, when I first came here, like I was having problems sleeping, like I was feeling like really restless in my body and really like unsafe in my body. And my root chakra was like all kinds of messed up. And yeah, and I'm learning that because I've never really felt home anywhere. Like I know people will talk about like, oh, I went to this place and it feels like home here. I've never had that feeling about any place yet.
But
um,
see, I also think that like home is more of a like state of mind too. Like what you like mind and heart are like it kind of goes together, like
they're
with the
yeah.
location part.
Yeah, they're connected. They speak to each other. And that's what I've been learning is home is right here. Like home is here. No matter where I am, I'm at home because I'm with myself, because I'm present with myself, because I'm aware with myself and my feelings and what's going on. Oh, and that's like I just got a chill down my spine when I said that, because that is such a huge shift from who I used to be and how I used to operate. And that's the big shift in awareness. And people talk about the awakening, like that's what it is. But yeah, I think for me, it's home is here, but it's also about the people. Like I think if you're with the right people and you have your tribe, you could live on Mars. It doesn't matter. I mean, not that I want to live on Mars. I'm not saying that. But yeah, I don't really think it matters so much where you are, as long as you have the right people, you know?
I would definitely say one key component though is like the more that you like release the layers that aren't actually you, like you can draw like your tribe to you, I feel like at a much faster rate than like when you still have all them extras. I would definitely say because divine timing and all kinds of things like that, the more I've noticed, at least with myself, the more I've broken down like those things, people will just come to me, opportunities just come to me kind of thing. And that's definitely like a key component because people always talk about, well, I want real friends or I want this or that or the other, but you have to put like the extra effort in. It doesn't just like,
Yeah, it comes back to that, like we can only meet people where we're at. So it's
the
like,
universe can only meet you where you're at
right,
too, you know?
right. So, if someone came to me and said something like that, and I want more friends like this and that, and they're describing this type of friend that they want, it's like, well, are you that person? Like that's a good place to start, like that's why, for example, I've been intentionally single for, I don't, gosh, it's been over 2 years now, because I know that I just want to focus on myself right now. And I want to be the type of person, um the type of person that I want to attract. Like I also want to be that person, that makes sense. And yeah, this concept of personal responsibility it's a big one. It's a big one. I kind of
Most definitely.
I feel like that's kind of the where people split. It's like the people who are taking personal responsibility and the people that aren't. It's like victim mentality or creator, victim consciousness or creator consciousness, right?
But I think also too, like during this time, I feel like everybody shifts in and out of those a little bit too. Like, but
Yes.
like I feel like the more that you go into the creator like consciousness, the like more that you sit in that space, like when you do go into that victim space, it's like you get out of it very, 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 very quickly. You catch yourself,
Yes.
But
That's the thing, is the more layers that come off and the deeper you go and the more you do. I mean, we've both been finding this with ourselves, with, the challenges that we're presented with, is that we're moving through them more quickly. And I'm not going to say it's easy, because it's not easy. It's easier,
yes,
right?
it's easier because it's kind of like you've done this, like as far as like the emotional aspect of it, like like how to go. The resistance is where it's like it's really like harder than it needs to be. When you just allow it, flows in and out, bing bam boom. But at least that part, I mean, you're
Yeah.
never really done though. Like you're never really done, but at least with that specific thing that's coming up, I feel like the resistance when you're trying to hold on, that's what drags it out longer.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Most definitely it does. Yeah, just like leave and sit with it. I found like what's really helpful for me is to just allow myself to have the feelings, whatever they are. Like don't, like if you're angry, be angry, whatever it is. Like allow yourself to be that. Um, I think we're taught that those are like negative things, like, oh, you're not supposed to be angry or you're not supposed to be upset, because really it makes other people uncomfortable. But we're human beings, right? So we have a range of emotions. And so, your emotions are valid, like whatever they are. And I'd say like allow yourself to feel it and then up the self-care. I hope you do self-care. But whatever you do for self-care, just like multiply that times 10. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah,
take the bath with
emotional
the Epsom
control.
salts. Yeah.
Emotional control, I think, is like I don't know that's definitely like I feel like a heavy thing of like you're not supposed to feel bad and like you need to like get rid of that immediately or whatever, like in a pressing it down capacity, and like that's where the issues are with that, of just like people will take a lot of the whatever you emotionally feel is okay, but like you said, with the uncomfortableness factor, it's like, okay, well, you've been feeling this a little bit too long, so like you need to like stop that now kind of thing or whatever. Like that needs to like not be a thing so that people can just, I feel like if there wasn't so much emotional control, like as far as like people's emotions or when things do come up, trying to suppress them or make them go away, there's still a lot of stigma with people that are emotional, and we're human. It's part of like who we are. So
Yeah, you're
it's
too
huge.
emotional, or oh, you're too sensitive. I have heard that so many times. I'm too sensitive. Like, well, maybe you're not sensitive enough. You know?
Or like, like, or maybe it's they haven't allowed themselves to be sensitive because
Right. That's
somebody
what I
told
mean.
them that they weren't allowed to be. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like that could also be another component too. So
Yeah, it's this whole thing about, we're all like learning how to be human, and like, oh my gosh, like feelings, what is that? What is that? Feelings, like emotions. Oh my God. Like, what is this? Yeah, because I think many of us, and I think this is more common than not, I because of the stigma, I don't think it's talked about very often. But I think most of the population, this is the case where they were not allowed to feel their feelings. And they were brought up in families where they weren't allowed to cry, they weren't allowed to be upset or angry, they weren't allowed to talk about it. And this has been like a cyclical generational thing that's just been passed on for like centuries. Um, and we're letting this fall away now. And we're like, you know what? No, I am a human. I'm here to have this human experience, and that means I have emotions. So
yep.
deal with it.
Yeah, because like I definitely like that fake positivity shit that just doesn't like fake it till you make it. I actually think that that's like very like harmful in my opinion, like the whole fake it, like especially emotionally. No, I want you to be, if you're a hot mess, be a freaking hot mess so that you can like process that and like
Yeah, that's the
feel
fake
better.
it till you make it. That's the bullshit. That's like, okay, just the other day, I heard a story where this person was telling me about this person that they knew, and they recently committed suicide. And they were telling me, they're like, I just don't understand, because like they were always so happy and like always in this good mood all the time. And it's like, yeah, that's that's the danger of that, of not actually like talking about your feelings and not asking for help. um yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think that happens a lot, you know so yeah, and it is uncomfortable and it is difficult. Like, I can talk to you about my feelings all day, because like you can hold this lovely space for me, and we hold space for each other, and it's wonderful and so supportive. But you know talking to, let's say, my family members or like my parents about my feelings, it's like, oh gosh, this is so uncomfortable. Because I know that they're uncomfortable. And so, yeah, it's just uncomfortable for everybody. But yeah,
That's the
I think,
thing. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, you go.
No, I was gonna say I think that's the thing is like the more that you sit with the uncomfortable, the more comfortable it becomes though.
Hmm.
I feel like to a degree, you know? Like just need to sit with uncomfortableness in general. Like it doesn't matter what it is, emotionally, like something that like I don't know, I feel like you can learn from different experiences too. Like if something isn't necessarily for you or somebody wants to talk about something that maybe like sitting with it, uncomfortableness, because I feel like you also find common ground somewhere within it too. So yeah, I kind of just went off on a tangent there.
But that's okay. That's what we do all the time.
I know.
Oh man. So yeah, I feel like this is such like a fascinating time to be alive right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know, like, what was it, the recent full moon in, what did you say, it was full moon in Libra?
No, it was an Aries, full moon in
Aries.
Aries. Yeah,
Okay.
we just
See,
had
I
a
don't
full moon in
really,
Aries.
he knows all about that.
Well, I don't know all about it, but like I
No
do,
more than
I
I
like
do.
okay, I'll say that. I know a little bit more, but yeah, it was a full moon in Aries, but like yeah, energies are all I'm not gonna say energies are intense because that's always used all the time, but I felt like with that specific energy, it was more of like intensity of what works, what doesn't, and like going into that space of energy of like where you want to go, like career wise, especially. But I think there was something going on with Capricorn, maybe. I don't know. I don't know my astrology as well as I would like to, but yes, there was a lot of that. So a lot of what are you going to do with your life kind of energy going on. But yeah, anytime that Leigh like has an energy thing or whatever, I tend to be like, well, this is what's going on. So like she
Yeah, or like she'll tell me like, "Oh, we'll take this crystal and like put it there," and I'm like, "Okay." So yeah. And yeah, because I had some things. Well, I'm not gonna say had because they're still here. There's some definitely some spirits in this house and on the whole property actually. So luckily I always travel with a few of my crystals. So those came in handy. Yeah. But yeah, it's still yeah, it's still kind of, still kind of feels off here in the evening times when it gets dark, you know. But yeah, it's so funny. Because with the whole like the spirit thing, I was telling the owner about the stuff I was feeling and experiencing, and she just like blew it off completely. She's like, "Oh yeah, well, I don't believe in that stuff." Like, okay.
that was uncomfortableness. I get uncomfortableness from that one.
Right. Yeah. Because she, you know, yeah, I won't say anything else on that, but yeah. Certain people can see certain things, certain people have certain gifts. And just because you don't feel it or just because you can't see it, it doesn't mean it's not real. Like
It's definitely.
there's infinite realities, like I guarantee you every single person watching this right now is experiencing this in a different way. They're having a different
Most
reality of
definitely.
this, because we've all
And
had.
then there's also like there's the different realities, and then there's the different realities of you individually, like the other yous, and then that's like a whole
Oh
other
Lord. Now she's going into the mind bending stuff.
I do that, but like usually I do that unintentionally, or like I don't know, it just comes. I
So
just say whatever pops in there.
yeah, talk a little bit more about that.
What with my own experiences with that,
And
or like,
anything you want to share about it.
well, one particular experience I had was where I was experiencing like almost like snapshots of different me's in different realities, but we were all thinking the same thought at the same time. But I was getting like downloads of what their lives were like in different capacities, like on decisions that I made, but like differently, like went in opposite directions throughout my life. And that was like very intense because I was like out in public when it happened, like going to the grocery store or something, and it's like that was just a lot like at one time, but
You're
it was
like, yeah, you're like looking at cereal and you're just like, whoa.
oh my god. But yeah, like I have this type of shit, and I've never done like ayahuasca or anything that's like any kind of psychedelics at all, and I'm like, holy shit, what would happen to me if I did do that shit?
Oh man. Well, I was just actually having a conversation with someone, my friend Victoria. She was at my first ayahuasca retreat. We did a little recorded interview earlier today, and yeah, we're talking all about that, all about ayahuasca. And yeah, it's different for everybody, and you just can't really put it into words. So it's just like an experience. Yeah, but I've had some really weird things happen too. Like I've had a lot of deja vu moments where I know for sure like I have not experienced that thing in this lifetime. Like I know it's a brand new experience, right? Like I can be at a totally like new place for the first time, doing like having a totally new experience to meet in this lifetime, and it feels like I've done it before, like the same thing in the same place, and I'm just like, whoa. And that happens to me quite a bit. Also, I tend to resonate with, and this probably like, goes back to like my past lives. There's like certain places in the world, and there's certain like time periods that I like just resonate a lot with, or like cultures. Um, and that's really interesting too.
Yeah, most definitely. I would say for me it would be like anything to do with like ancient Egypt. That's like
Mm-hmm.
one. And also like Indian culture, like Native American and like Indian, like
Yeah.
both of those like a lot, but I do have Native American like in my family, specifically like Blackfoot tribe. And it was so funny though because like I'm 50% Korean, but people will always pick up the Native American. Like I'll just be going some of them like, "Are you Native American?" like kind of thing. And it's like they pick that up. I don't know if it's an energy thing. I don't know like specifically what, but people always pick that up. But I've always been drawn to those specific things, like the culture, their like practices and things like that. And even had some past life dreams of different experiences with that. So it's been pretty interesting. But when you were talking about the deja vu thing, I wanted to go back to that. The weirdest experience I had was somebody telling me something. We are at I think it was in line to like send money or something, like for like a PayPal or something like that. And I was loading it and somebody said something to me, and I had like this very strange experience where it was like I was somebody else and I was in line for something else, but that person, like, they were there and they had said the same specific thing to me, but like this person that I was like in that moment was like had like a completely different life. It was a completely different kind of thing, and it was the strangest
That is
feeling. I can't
so
even
trippy.
I can't even like put it in it was like a very strange experience because like this person, they had bad knees and they had a bad hip, and like it was weird. She had like uh a husband that was like probably like 50 something years old. They had like three kids and like the
Whoa,
whole
you're getting
family.
real
It was
specific.
it was very specific, like, but I knew all of this like in this moment. It was like all this came
Mhm.
through, and it was
Mhm.
like, holy crap, like who is this person? And it was like very strange. It
Whoa.
never happened again. It only happened one
Whoa.
time, but I'm like, what? I hope this isn't a regular thing. Like, because it was very disorienting, because it's like
Mhm.
this things tend to happen to me, not like that's something I've noticed. It's not like when I do meditative practices or like I have time to be by myself. No, it's like when I'm out and about, like randomly
Yeah, it's not in
somewhere.
the privacy and comfort of your own home. It's like out in public and there's other people.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's
yeah,
like so
yeah.
fascinating.
But it was very interesting because I like at the time I was like in line and stuff like that, and it was during like I would say like the beginning time of um like the all
The,
the COVID
the
stuff.
thing.
And the thing, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
It's
The
okay.
thing. I forgot we're on YouTube like for a second, but
It's
yeah.
okay. I don't really have any subscribers yet. I'm not famous enough for them to catch
Okay. But yeah, at the beginning part of the thing, so like there was a lot of like fear energy, but like I try not to embrace like that myself or whatever. But the person that like I was either channeling or experiencing or whatever was very, very terrified. But it was not of that. It
Oh,
was in general. Like she just had a lot of fear
yeah.
in general
Mhm.
about her own like mortality, and like it was really weird. It was like a very strange experience. But
Wow.
yeah,
Ooh, I just got a chill down my spine. Oh my gosh.
But
Ooh, wow. That's crazy. I've never heard of that before.
I don't know. It was like a so like if anybody like has any insights, right, they put it in the comment section
Yes,
on that
please.
because like that was definitely
Please do. Yeah, I wonder like how many people are actually having these types of experiences, like what we're talking about, you know? I'd be so fascinated to know because yeah, I mean, it's probably stuff like they only tell their closest friends, right?
see I'm in the space of like I'm just gonna put it out. Like
Yeah, well, it's good. It's good that we're talking about it because if there's people that watch this, they're like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm not alone. I'm not crazy. That has happened to me too, you know?" So definitely I think that the more we talk about this stuff the better, but like, you know, you're a pretty grounded person. Um and I would just wonder about maybe someone that's not so grounded and maybe they're having an experience like this. Like, what would your advice be? How do you even like deal with something like that?
well, I would firstly say definitely as soon as you can sit down, drink lots of water, and also the thing that has helped me the most, I would say, is allow yourself to sit with the feelings, whatever the feelings are, and try to pinpoint what your feelings are opposed to what the experience, like whatever the person that you're like channeling or whatever, what their experience is, like learning to separate that is like a key component. And by doing that, the easiest way I feel like is going into your heart space, dropping down in that heart space and being able to, this is me, this is them. Because like the panic part, if it's anything that's like not necessarily good, you know, like on the end of not necessarily the person channeling the experience, but like who they're channeling. Like separating that will definitely calm you down very, very, very quickly. Like this is not me, this is like kind of thing.
Mm.
By doing that, it kind of separates, it makes you think, it makes you present in the like in the moment opposed to like wrapping up in the experience. Um and yeah, that's definitely like something I would definitely say. And also by doing that, it's allowing you to slow down like what you're seeing. Because for me, when I did that, like once I was able to sit down, like I could give all kinds of detail, like a whole built up life of the stuff that I saw. But if you just kind of stay in that emotional space of it, you can't actually take in what you're seeing. So it's
Right.
kind of, you have to like meditatively kind of separate. At least that's how it worked for me, like in that moment to where I was able to get all that detail. But I don't know like who the person is, if they were like dead or like I don't know what that specifically was, but I was able to get a lot of detail about them, which was very interesting.
That's fascinating. And I think you touched on like a really important skill to have is learning to separate what's yours and what's not. Because I believe we're all empathic. Like I believe that we all have that ability. Like I know there's people that go around and they're like, well, I'm an empath. Well, we all are. It's just a matter of like if you've actually tapped into that ability within yourself. But if you're highly empathic, you know, then you can very easily pick up on other people's stuff. And then you're like, oh man, like, why do I all of a sudden feel like shit? It's like, maybe it's not yours. So I think that's a really, really important skill to have. And honestly, I'm still working on that one.
Yeah, I definitely, but I will say this, like, and this is probably all I will say on it. Like, I think that one of the most important things, if you have any kind of sensitivity to other people's energy outside, is very important. Getting outside, like, holy crap, I can always tell, like, when I'm like, when I haven't been sticking to the practices or doing them like I should be like outside is like an immediate thing. And this is why I'm so grateful for this patio area. Like it has
Yes.
definitely become like freaking a spot for me to just be like, okay, take some breaths out here. And I got like some like down here is like kind of muddy and mossy and stuff like that. So grounding is a huge one. I mean, Epsom salt baths are great, but like sometimes you just don't want to go through all the motions of that. Just freaking go outside. Outside is the easiest thing. It doesn't have to be necessarily in like the woods or anything like that, but just some
Yeah.
breaths of fresh air. Like,
Yes.
and also remembering to breathe. That's another one. People hold their breath so much and they don't think about it like at all.
Yes. Yes, definitely. I mean, a lot of that is tied into like the nervous system and always being in the fight or flight, taking really shallow breaths. So, yeah, deep breathing and breath work. Breath work is incredible. But yeah, the nature is so important. Like I feel so great being out in the country, just being surrounded by trees and grass and animals. Um, and yeah, I think I've lived enough of the city life. think I'm over that now. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really great. It's it's just I don't even know if I can put it into words, but um yeah, I mean, even though there's some other stuff I'm dealing with, it's just it brings me back home. It realigns, recenters me, very grounding, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, like the way I look at it, like I actually, although you see all those woods behind me, I actually do live in the city currently, but I would definitely some property. That's the next thing, property or like something, you know, where you don't necessarily have neighbors like in the same building as you kind of thing. But definitely, I would say if you do live in a city, even if you could find a spot where there's like grass or a tree, like the simplest little thing could do so much. Like seriously, does a
Trees are
lot.
phenomenal. Trees,
Yes.
like, and I have like specific ones that will call out to me that just have like these incredible energies. And it's so funny, like I mean, when I was a little girl, this was something I used to do as a game. I used to like whisper into the trees, and then I knew that the trees were like talking to each other, which is so crazy because I'm a kid and I have no idea about how any of that works, and they do actually communicate with each other. Like this is like scientifically proven that they do that through like the roots and mycelium structures and all that. But here I am as a kid, like whispering into trees, like, hey, can you like tell that other tree this thing? Like how would a kid even know that? But now I guess as I like grew up and become an adult, I like completely just like that went away. And then when I did plant medicine, it totally came back. So there's some pretty amazing trees out there. So I'm a tree hugger, I'm a bona fide tree hugger.
I
I
do that
mean,
too.
I
I
will hug
like
a tree.
to I actually do the stories of the trees or like I will ask a tree like what it wants to show me or tell me like throughout its life or whatever, and I will connect with it in that way before I like hug or anything like that. But yeah, I like to learn the history of like the things they've seen and stuff like that. I think that's like really cool.
Yeah. And there's so much we can learn from them too. Because especially with like coming more into my divine feminine energies and embracing the cyclical nature of life. Like we go through cycles, we go through seasons, just like the trees do. And, we're entering fall. And so the trees don't freak out when they start to lose their leaves because they know in the springtime they're going to bud again, right? And it's just like it's kind of the same for us. And like we go through these cycles and we go through these seasons. So, you know, that's been like such a huge help for me in understanding that as well. Like we don't always have to be producing something. Like we don't always have to be you know, showing up in the world in a certain way. You know, sometimes we could like cuddle on the couch with a blanket, and maybe we do that for like a couple weeks.
But see, like the point is like I think we all like change is constant where you know you never actually stay the same. People think they do, but they really don't. Everybody changes, you know, all the time, but you have periods where there's like, you know, where things are like I guess you could say like a I don't want to say a slope or anything, but just like, you know, where there's nothing. But usually what I've learned is normally during that period, that's right when some dramatic or like maybe not dramatic, but like something some kind of change is about to come is normally right in that peak of I'm very tired, I'm very unmotivated or whatever, and then it's like bam, it pops up.
Well, I mean, at least that's how it's been for us. I mean, I don't know about
I don't
other.
know about everybody else, but yeah, for us, that's definitely.
We signed up for this we signed up for this type of experience. It's like, what else? What's next? What you got? I always like joke around with Liz. I'm like, you know what? I'm tired. Like sometimes I just want a break. I'm
But see,
like,
but I guess that's where like your soul contracts and all that come in. But I
they're
don't
like,
know.
it's not what you signed up for. It's like, really, all I want to do is eat fruit and make art. That's like my new thing. I keep telling her, like,
We
yeah,
both keep saying that.
yeah, eat fruit and make art. That's it. It's like so simple, you know?
But like the fruit, like this is the thing with the fruit though. Like I don't want to have to go to the store to get it. I want it to be
No.
right.
Yes. Yes. So, you know, what if like we could grow the fruit on our land?
That's what I'm saying. No, like I'm down with the growing. I just mean like I don't want to have to travel outside of that space.
Well, I would venture out to go get stuff. I would. I would.
Well, I'm at the fruit part. Like I'd
Yeah.
rather it be like grown by me
Oh
opposed to
yeah, most definitely. I mean, that's the ideal situation, right? Well, we're manifesting and creating this new world. So, you know, things are changing very rapidly. I mean, so much has changed just since I met you. And I mean, who
I
knows?
know we've probably changed like into like I would say at least 10 different people since we
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, I've been died and reborn multiple times, but it's good. It's good. It's just, you know, all coming home to ourselves really is what it is. So do you want to share with people what you're currently working on, or maybe anything you have, any offerings or anything?
Okay. Well, I basically do visionary energy infused art that I will be having prints at a vendor's fair that's in Knoxville. I will have the information like in the comment section on that. But I am also going to be doing clothing as well, like for my art, like clothing, prints, all that stuff. And I will be having a website that'll be up for that soon. But I also will create pieces specifically for people, like if they're looking for things that can either activate things in them or like for healing. I create like pieces that are specifically meant for them as well. So hit up the abstract butterfly page, that'll make sure to have a link for that. And yeah, I create physical arts, visionary arts, like as far as like digitally. And I'm kind of going to be venturing off into clothes, I think, soon too, but that's a
Yeah,
little further down the line.
and I was just thinking like, because I have a shirt that I had her make for me, and it's like totally rad, but I'm traveling, so of course like I didn't bring it with me, but I was like, dang it, I could have worn the shirt.
Oh, no worries, no worries. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing way more of the clothing thing. So within the next so many, I would probably say week or two, I'm gonna start posting more of that. I don't have an actual website together. I am a hot mess when it comes to that. I will straight up tell you that, but I can put like the orders in. That's no problem. She can tell you like you'll get it and
Yeah.
it'll be
So the best way for people to get in contact with you would be
through Facebook. You can either my Liz Leigh, look me up, or Abstract Butterfly, either or for that stuff. And yeah.
yeah, and we'll put links. I'll put links in the description of the video here. Yeah. But yeah, of course I could like talk to you for hours, but I want to also be respectful of your time and try to keep it to an hour. But yeah, this has been so much fun. Ooh, I'm so
Yeah, girl.
excited.
I know we could talk all day. We already know.
Sometimes we do. But thank you so much. I'm very honored and grateful that you've gifted us all with your presence today.
Well, thank you. I was happy to be here. And so was the background.
Yes, so was Mama Gaia. Okay. Well, we'll wrap it up. And like I said, if you guys want to get in contact with Liz, I'll put links in the description below. And I hope you all take care.